Hello, CSI Golden Eagles, and welcome again to the Knowledge Nest. Last week we talked about citations, and this week we're going to talk about a similar topic, which is plagiarism, or the absence of plagiarism is academic integrity, which is probably a more positive way to speak about this concept. But if you don't cite things correctly and when you should, and if you don't use them ethically, you will be guilty of plagiarism or another breach of academic integrity, be it cheating or other things. Before we get into that topic, however, I want to make a very exciting announcement. This week, we're going to have our mini golf course, which some of you have used, up all week from Monday through Friday. So please come and relax and do some mini golf. We have a bunch of other activities planned for later in this month and next month, and as the school year starts up again, the academic school year. So please take advantage of our resources and please come and relax. We have games, we have video games, we have puzzles, we have obviously books, we have audiobooks, and we have the mini golf course, which is one of our most favorite things. People love to play this mini golf. So please come for that. And of course, stay for the books and the research value that we offer. Now, back to plagiarism and academic integrity. There are a lot of different factors that can go into plagiarism, and there are allegedly 11 or 12 different types of plagiarism, but we're just going to cover a very high-level, broad definition of plagiarism today. Plagiarism can be turning in someone else's work, putting quotations in quotation marks, not putting quotations in quotation marks, paraphrasing something without quoting it, or copying an idea and putting it in other words and not giving them credit for that idea. That's changing words but copying the sentence structure. There are many different types of plagiarism and many different types of paraphrasing without citations. Copying as much content from another work that it makes up the majority of what you're doing, whether or not you give credit. And of course, commentaries and other things are not exempt from this, but they have certain qualifications that they use to make sure that it is known that they're using a transformative work. They're creating something that's meant to cite or critique or shed new light on a work, even though it's that same work that has been published before. But for our purposes today, we're not going to be critiquing a bunch of works and publishing them and just adding our annotations. For your papers, please don't do that. Even if you cite it and quote it, it still can be counted as plagiarism if you do something as egregious as that. Of course, you can cite paragraphs and quote paragraphs, and even you can intersperse different quotes from the same thing as long as you put your own commentary and quote it and cite it and things. But please do not copy huge blocks of text into a paper and cite it and think that you're plagiarism free. So academic integrity at CSI, which is the absence of plagiarism and other forms of cheating and other forms of using others' work as your own or not putting forth your best effort, is a very serious thing. You could be suspended or expelled from the college if you participate in plagiarism or other academic integrity infringements. You can look at Credo, you can look at our LibGuides page, and there's also a page in the research guide on academic integrity. Let's look at it. First of all, though, the policy that we have at CSI regarding academic integrity. I'm not going to read the whole student handbook, but I will read you this. Most of this, some of it at least. The college values its mission as an educational institution. CSI students, faculty, staff, and administration are expected to be honest in all aspects of their college education and employment. Did you think about that? This is an aside from me. Employees are expected to follow the same academic principles and integrity principles as you are. There are some people who say, well, teachers and faculty and staff, they don't really have to follow all the rules. We do. We're expected to have the same level of high citations and information use and source use as you do. So we're expected to be plagiarism free as well. All student work is evaluated with the assumption that the work presented is the individual's own work. All work submitted is to be a representation of an individual's own ideas, concepts, and understanding. Now, how is this going to be possible? And again, this is an aside from me. If you are quoting someone else and assessing their work or interpreting their work. Well, you quote something, and I would say have 1 to 3 paragraphs about that quote. You can't quote something and then have a sentence of interpretation, and then quote something else and then have another sentence of interpretation. Again, I'm not a professor. My grandma was an English teacher. I love English. I love it. Literature interpretation. I've loved it forever. But I'm not your teacher. I'm not your educator or instructor. So do what they say. But you can cite things and quote things, and as long as you have enough interpretation and good interpretation, high quality interpretation, that's okay. But in any case, the focus of the paper is supposed to be your ideas on that work and not the other work itself. Anything less than this is unacceptable and is subject to disciplinary action as outlined in the student and faculty handbooks. And there's a whole disciplinary policy that I can scroll over, and you can pause this video and you can read it, and I'll show you the link in a bit. There's a disciplinary procedure, including academic and disciplinary sanctions. All this to say, we're not here to destroy your academic career. We're here to help you. But if you engage in these things, it's very dishonest and it's a very black mark on your record. We have cheating, fabrication, which is making up your sources, plagiarism, unauthorized collaboration, facilitating academic dishonesty. Now, you may think, what if I use AI to create something? That's a gray area. Personally, and this is my personal viewpoint, if you use AI and if you iterate your prompts and if you iterate your outputs and if you edit it, it is your content. The copyright is passed on to you as the AI user. You aren't plagiarizing. It's your content because you were in charge of that process. However, your instructor may have other views on that. So again, that's my personal view. And I am also in a group, a committee, the AI committee, generative AI committee, that is discussing different perspectives on AI and developing policies regarding AI use at the college. So, and eventually, we're going to have an artificial intelligence policy that governs what exactly counts as plagiarism. And so, this is really important for us to understand. And so, rest assured, you're going to have guidance and you're going to have policies and ideas as to what's appropriate and what's not. So here's the academic policy. It's a massive thing, but we have the Academic Integrity Disciplinary Policy 2021. And you can probably access this by going to CSI's website or even Googling Academic Integrity Policy, CSI. The good thing is we have all these links, reporting a concern, reporting incidents, all sorts of other things. One last note, one final note that I'm going to have for you guys. Open access materials. Now, open access materials are free. They're available for free. You can go and click on them and find them without having to pay anything, without having to have a subscription, usually. But even if you have to have a subscription for a database, you don't have to have a subscription to access the resources that are linked to in that database. And so these are free articles that you can use and research and analyze. And you can find them in many different pages, including the DOAJ, Directory of Open Access Journals, Internet Archive, HathiTrust. Project Gutenberg is not the best, except for books. I wouldn't use them for academic articles, though. And they're all in the public domain, where no intellectual property rights exist, essentially, from a legal perspective. That's a quote from the Creative Commons. But a lot of people, and again, this is in my undergrad, I have to be fair, not everyone thinks this, but some people think that if I cite something, or if I use something in the public domain, in the open access, it's an open access material, I don't have to cite it. I can just use it because it's free access, and it doesn't count as something that has to be cited. But that is a quick way to be dinged for plagiarism. If something is open access, that doesn't mean that anybody can take advantage of it in their own work. you still have to cite it. You still have to be using open access resources ethically and within the realms of academic integrity and within those policies. And there are many different other policies. And if you want some information about copyright and open access and plagiarism and things like that, and so you're navigating correctly, I have papers and I have links and I can help you find those materials you're looking for. But please use academic integrity and make sure that you're citing things correctly, and ask us. We're here to help you. There's a whole LibGuides page on plagiarism. In fact, let's go there right now as a brief send-off. Here it is. You go to LibGuides, you can search writing academic integrity, and we have a whole page on cheating, copyright, intellectual property, all of these things. Thank you, Ross, I believe, for writing this page. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. I will see you next week on the Knowledge Nest, and we're about a month away from seeing you all here in person, those of you who are in-person students. So thank you very much and have a wonderful week.